Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. I'd like to this audio podcast series, the audio podcast series in around the molecular storm gauge v.3. This is an audio podcast aligned to pediatric nephrology, coping in young people with chronic kidney disease or CKD. This is an audio podcast aligned to a Ztorm lobostic siege and another Ztorm lobostics production. So in this audio podcast, I'll be there'll be a sort of an overview in around the sort of the findings in this research and aligned to where the findings are linked to sort of have a sort of interplay into different themes that had been different themes that had been sort of identified in this research. And so to begin, there is to begin there is in the publication there's an overview in around sort of the demographic data of the participants between the two groups that had participated and had been involved in the research, and ultimately 11 themes emerged following sort of thematic analysis. So in around this so yeah so before highlighting the sort of the aspects in around the thematic analysis and the findings in around this research. I thought I'd highlight some aspects in around those young people, who had been involved in this research between the two participant groups. In group one, those who were the young people with CKD, and the severity in around stages in around CKD severity 4 to 5. There have been four from male backgrounds, ages for example 16, ages 16, ages 14, ages where the average was in around the male background was in those with a male background were age 14, and those from female backgrounds were 12 and 13. 12 and 13, and in around group 2, those from the healthy young people, there were five from male backgrounds, from male backgrounds, age 13, 14, and 16, for example, and two from female backgrounds, age 15, and 16. And so in around the findings around this research. So one of the initial themes was anticipating a challenging scenario. So young people try to anticipate a challenging scenario by implementing different strategies. One young person had highlighted or stated that they try to find out everything before anticipating a challenging scenario. Another participant highlighted that they like going for sort of long walks, and this helps anticipate sort of challenging scenarios. Another participant had informed that yoga helps calm the mind. Another young participant said, young participant said, if I couldn't do something proper, if I couldn't do something, I'd probably just try a different way. I try a different way of doing that. And then if I still couldn't do it, I would ask someone to help. Another one young person had mentioned that they speak to parents, that they speak to parents, but like if there's a problem, if there's a problem at school, I'll go and see teachers, for example, there. Um, and one young person had mentioned, I think as long as I've got somebody as long as I've got somebody to tell me that that it's going to be all right. So that was one thing. That was one aspect. And then another participant said that I just cope really, which was one of the comments. Um, Another comment was I probably I probably asked the teacher for more time, where school can be where school can be a problem or an issue. Another comment was had been documented. For example, where a parent or guardian had spoken on behalf of this young participant, where the parent or guardian had highlighted that she communicates with me, my husband, or nanny or granddad. And another participant had highlighted, I talk to the nurse or my consultant, or just talk to my mum. And so that's in around the theme on surrounding anticipating a challenging scenario, in around close relationships. So all subjects or participants has someone close with whom to communicate when coping was sort of challenging or difficult. One young person said probably just my parents really, whilst another said parents, and so specifically their mum, and should probably show she'll show me so this participant in context of her mother was saying that she probably she'll show me sympathy. And one young person said, I often I often call them around here, and where this participants had been referring to, for example, the dialysis nursing staff. Um, and one mentioned, um, another participant had mentioned that I talked to my mum or nan, and yeah I normally talk to my mum about it, or sometimes my dad. And another young person, from group two, had similar sort of underpinnings in around communication. And one participant in group two had mentioned, for example, sort of close friends, sister and brother, as sort of close relationships. And another participant in group two had mentioned their mum, or my mum, as a direct quotation. And another said, oh she's another participant from group two had mentioned, she's like best friends. That as participants was referring to, that she's like best friends with a receptionist in context of the youth club that the that group 2 participants were had been involved from. So in around now specifically to the theme in around coping strategies. So some of the main coping strategies identified from responses provided in interviews with participants with CKD, for example, included lying down, computers, and sleep. One young person said, "Yeah, I don't tend to get annoyed and stuff. I just accept that I can't do it. I can't do it, and ask someone for help." Another said, another said, I kept calm about it. Um, whilst another said, I just tend to try and relax. I usually try and listen to some music, lying down and listening to music. Another participant had said. Another participant had said, I just forget it and just sort of when they say yeah, I put it to the side and don't think about it because it just worries me. And then another young participant had said had said or mentioned that sometimes if I am bad enough if I'm bad enough, I would just go to sleep and then feel worse, and then feel better when I wake up. So in comparison with participants in group 2, these young people appear to implement a combination of both what's been referred to and documented and sort of evidence as problem focused coping and emotion focused coping. So one comment was, for example, put it to the side. Another young person had said another young person had said, for example, walking long distances. Another mentioned squeezing sort of stress these sort of stress instruments. And another highlighted that I'll smoke. That this participant said that they smoke. Another participant said get angry at everybody. And another participant had said for example, go for a jog. And so the young people in both groups sort of displayed sort of a range of coping strategies that surround sort of emotion focused, but also active style approaches as well. So in around the theme a theme in around the theme around demonstrating resilience. So resilience seems to play a large role in young a large role in young lives. One young person said, if it's a problem at school, for example, I'll go and see the teachers. I'll go and see the teachers. I'll go and see the teachers there. Another participant says, whilst another participant had highlighted that still that they still gotta do it, and where this was referred to, for example, homework, and take appropriate treatments according to their diagnoses. Because you're not because where this participant highlighted, you're not where sorry where they highlighted that you're not that they're not ill enough to say I cannot do it. But at the same time, you're not well enough to be able to do it properly in context of homework, or in context of homework, for example. Another participant also provided a school or homework example, saying, yeah, I'd probably ask the teacher for more time. And another was, and this is where the parent or the guardian was speaking on behalf of the participants, and where she says in about her child, that she hardly ever complains of pain, and at the same time, that's when we know when she is in pain, and it's bad when she says she's in pain, because she never complains usually. She has a very high she has a very high sort of pain threshold. And that was on behalf, well, a parent or a guardian on behalf of their child. Now, in around the theme around exercise, for example, one participant, the participants in this context, so demonstrating involvement in sort of exercise or physical activity has been documented as as an important strategy. One young person says, for example, I'm not great at sport, but I enjoy it. Another said that I'm not that much of a sporty person. Another comment uh, was where this parent or guardian on behalf of their child had said, excuse me, had said, being that she's done abstaining or canoeing and everything, and where it's been have been sort of highlighted that being active is important. One young person had said that I just play football with friends and stuff. Another comment was, I think any activities can takes any activities can sort of take my mind off it, and where this had been referred to sort of health related concerns. Another participant highlighted sort of football and running, and and another participant had said, had highlighted, I like swimming as well, but I can't go swimming. And so in around in around sort of in around the theme in around the theme of sort of around making decisions. So young people have various people whom can support them in decision making. One young person said, I can usually talk to my mates. Another mentioned my parents about most things, and depending on the type of decision to be made, one participant has said, probably just my parents really, and a group of three friends. And another said, we are in the process. So on this parent, as a parent on behalf of their child, I was saying we are in the process of getting her moved to a special needs school, because there's just no understanding on her learning disability side of things, or on renal failure. Um, and another participant had said that another participant that said that they uh, so another a sort of participant on behalf sorry, another a parent or participant on behalf of their child said they talk to the nurse or a consultant, or just talk to their mother or their mum about anything in context of making sort of decisions. um, And so this then leads into the next theme in around pastimes. Pastimes. So one young person from group two had said, for example, attending a youth club allows them to change their sort of group of friends. This had been documented as being quite important because this can help can help can help sort of gain sort of different perspectives. One young person said attending the youth club helps to communicate with someone when making decisions, and when something is difficult. Another participant said on pastimes, young people from group group one had varied comments, including I like kind of drawing and reading. Another participant said the same participant said I like model building, for example, and also astronomy. And other participants said football and FIFA. A participant say I like playing football. I like doing lots of sports and stuff. Another participant said I did like running, but I can't do it. I can't do it now. And another young participant said when it's sunny. And sorry, this was on a parent or guardian on behalf of their child, where they said when it's sunny and the kids come around, we've got a trampoline in our back garden. And and another participant said had highlighted I like playing football. In around sort of peer pressure, in around peer pressure. As for group two, young people from uh, uh, as for group two, the young people from the CKD group or group one did not really report experience of peer pressure per se. All young people reported having sort of a tight group of friends that they can talk to and enjoy time with. Uh, and one participant said, I can usually talk to my mates." And another participant said, probably just my parents really and a group of a group of three friends. And and where Another participant said, talk to the nurse or my consultant, or just talk to my mum. And in around the theme, in around the theme surrounding relaxation and relief. A range of comments related to relaxation relief. One young person says the excuse me the youth club as a place where young people are able to relax and relieve any tensions. Another said that the youth club is where young people are very much welcomed, emphasizing with our direct empathizing with sort of the direct situation or circumstances uh, 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 that that they have. One young person had highlighted that if I think of a story and I write it down, I just write whatever comes out, and it usually helps. It usually helps me. And then in relying to relax as well. Young people said I usually try and listen to some music, lying down and listening to music. And another participant said being calm and just lying down, and also counting to 10, or breathing. And another participant said on behalf of this parent or guardian on behalf of their child had highlighted she is independent, so she'll quite happily just go off and play in her room, and in around the sort of theme around stress triggers. So all participants spoke about different stress triggers. Some comments include, for example, exams are a cause of trigger for stresses. Um, uh, other comments included, for example, arguing with my parents, or sorry, arguing with my mom a lot. And another participant said, and people telling me what to do. And the young people here indicated that there were a variety of causes of stress. One participant identified that if I have difficulty doing doing certain tasks, for example, homework, and sort of chores, some home chores, I find that this can cause this causes me stress. And related to a sort of clinical scenario, one young person said, well, if my creatinine goes up, it can be kind of stressful. It can be kind of stressful then. And in around this, schoolwork had been documented as sort of an obvious stressor. One young um, one young person said, keeping on revision is hard. It's just another thing that you've got to deal with on top of everything else. And another participant I was like in hospital for a load of the time, so I missed loads of education. One participant explained that I think mixing with learning disability. So this participant, on behalf of this parent or guardian, on behalf of their child, had said, for example, one where I think mixing with her learning disabilities as well, she does she does have time off school, and she's in a mainstream school at present, and sometimes she's not aware of different things. She's not aware of the full consequences. And so another participant has said that I've missed quite a bit of school. So when I first got diagnosed, I missed nearly all of year 3. And then this young person elaborated. I've missed sorry another yeah this young person elaborated, and they said that I've missed days and weeks with my illness, coming into hospital, and just that builds up, and just that builds up, because that where this young person explains that they had issues, had some anxieties in around their sort of their GC, what's been referred to as documented as GCSEs, their general certificate of secondary education, sort of learning. And sort of finally, in around one of the sort of final themes in around the findings, was sort of in around worst case scenario and on the extreme. So a number of participants in both groups spoke of escaping from a situation when it became too extreme. For example, be the big man and walk away. Was one participant was one participant perspective. Another perspective was I just try and distract myself, I suppose. And then another participant had said, I just leave a situation, and the healthy the healthy young people talked about removing themselves from the situation. However, many of the young people in group one used strategies to emotionally remove themselves. So examples for as examples. So a quotation in around this. I often like call them around here, and again, as in one of the previous themes, where participants said call them around here. They were referring to dialysis staff on the unit, and another says I just forget about it. I forget about it and basically where this particular participant just sort of felt like screaming, and just said basically I just forget about it and just and and another participant said, I manage well in difficult situations, but then when it does build up, I get upset about it. So that was one of the participants from one of the participants in the CKD group, and so that draws this audio podcast to a close in around this theme. In around this overview around in around the research surrounding pediatric nephrology, coping in young people with CKD or chronic kidney disease. This has been an audio podcast aligned to the molecular Ztorm Guage v.3. This is an audio podcast aligned to a Ztorm Robotics Siege. It's another Ztorm Robotics production, and we're in this audio podcast highlighted some of the findings in around the work in around the research, and the next audio podcast will look into the next audio podcast in this series will delve into sort of the discussion aspects in around the research. Thanks for tuning in.